Imagine yourself in place of the disciples at Jesus' crucifixion. As he hung on the cross, they fled to an upstairs room where they locked themselves behind closed doors, wrestling with fear and hopelessness. They thought Jesus would be the Jewish deliverer, but instead, he was dead. They just couldn't understand. What happened? What's going on? Where is God? They could see nothing more than a bleak future ahead. Their teacher and friend, the one on whom all their hope rested, was gone, forever, dead. What more could be done? From their perspective, the story was over. They wallowed in grief and fear, weeping and mourning, feeling foolish, confused, riddled with doubt, ashamed and embarrassed, disappointed in themselves, disappointed in Him. Yet despite defeat's relentless pounding at the door, the disciples couldn't help but wonder, did we really misread Jesus and all He promised? We have so many unmet expectations, but what is this tiny kindling of hope flickering in our hearts? Why do we feel like it's not really over, like there's more? While the disciples grieved and mourned in the upstairs room, waiting in the tension between what they had hoped for and the hope of what might still come, a glorious birthing was taking place. The resurrected Christ was about to be revealed. At the same time, the Father was working through His Spirit to birth apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers who would make the truth of His Son known in all the world. What if the disciples had given in to defeat? What if they persisted in looking at facts rather than looking to God? What if they chose to believe the persistent evil lies of the enemy? What if they agreed it's over? God isn't doing anything here. Do you feel like God's people are in a similar place today? Everywhere we look, we see people in confusion, frustration, hopelessness, doubt, disappointment, and intense pain, asking what's happening in this insane world. Where is God? Look at what's going on. Why isn't He doing something? Many of us are hiding out in fear as spiritual attacks have progressed and escalated to outright assaults. We feel frustrated, neutered, and unable to see hope on the horizon. But just like the disciples in Jesus' day, we find ourselves hanging on with a glimmer of hope in the tension between what seems to be and what we know in our hearts God has promised. We live on this side of the cross and we know new life is coming. The Father is working behind the scenes to birth something new in His people, even if we're hiding out in an upstairs room. So do not lose heart. Although we may be fearful and confused, we are His hope carriers in a fractured world. And the revelation of His kingdom era on earth as it is in heaven is even now being birthed in us.